Would you like to be on timeout for 10 years, where you only have access to a bathroom stall, sink, and food without any outside contact? The answer is probably no, because it would literally drive you crazy. However, did you know that 80,000 to 100,000 people are currently experiencing this timeout in the United States? This timeout is known as solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement is essentially a prison within a prison, where one prisoner is kept in a tiny cell for 22 to 23 hours a day. This practice started in the 1800s by the Quakers, who wanted the prisoners to use the time to reflect and study the Bible. However, the Supreme Court at the time declared that prisoners subject to solitary confinement became violently insane, and others committed suicide. Therefore, the use of this cruel punishment stopped for centuries. But since a few decades ago, the use of it resumed due to the belief that solitary confinement successfully separates the truly dangerous prisoners from the others.
Many people believe that to end up in solitary confinement, you must do something bad, like kill a man. However, that's not the case. Many prisoners end up in solitary confinement for many different reasons, such as being at the wrong place at the wrong time, talking back to a guard, or to manage gang affiliation. Often, prisoners were thrown into solitary confinement because of their sexual preference or having something they're not supposed to have, like a pack of cigarettes or even a cookie. There have been many cases in which a prisoner was thrown into solitary confinement for doing nothing wrong.
What if we tell you that students experience this unfairness every day? For similar reasons, students end up in detention or suspension, such as being at the wrong place, using their phones in class, or talking back to the teacher. These forms of punishments do not benefit the students in any way, and they do not make up for the time that has been lost. Furthermore, students in the environment of schooling rather than education experience generalizations similar to what the prisoners in solitary confinement experience. In the system of schooling, the students are generalized to be able to learn the same information under the same types of instructions, meaning that they are all expected to be the one type of a student. In solitary confinement, the prisoners are generalized to be extremely dangerous, disregarding the fact that they ended up there for different reasons. Although one may have simply stolen a cookie, that person is treated the same as others who ended up there due to murders.
Another popular notion is that solitary confinement simply isolates the dangerous from the rest, allowing them to reflect and learn their lesson. However, what occurs within solitary confinement is not that simple. Guards may torture the prisoners by abusing them, or even without these abusements, there are severe psychological and physical effects that haunt the prisoners forever. Due to a lack of social contact, many of the prisoners develop psychological disorders like hallucinations, depression, panic attacks, and difficulty with memory and concentration. Some of the effects of solitary confinement may even lead to suicide. Many of the abuses incorporate different types of torture, such as sensory deprivation, including no light in the cell or having a bright light on the whole time, driving the prisoners insane. Furthermore, guards may provide very little to no food time for shower or exercise. The environment drives the prisoners crazy, so they often hurt themselves in order to distract themselves or feel alive.
Although this is a common environment for prisons and solitary confinement, the society does not really know about it, as they focus on the acts of prisoners and how they ended up in a cell rather than what occurs within the cell. Therefore, prison is taught to be a justifying environment, but no one really knows or cares about what happens within prisons. It is essential to address the use of solitary confinement and stop it because it is inhumane. Solitary confinement is so bad to the point where it is illegal to use this practice on animals, but for some reason, we still use this form of punishment on humans. We feel the need to address this topic because we are all allies to those who are against the practice of solitary confinement. We believe that no one should suffer through such inhumane treatment.
Women are more prone to be sexually assaulted while they are in solitary confinement, and minority groups like Latinos are more than likely to end up in these conditions.
The prison system is often made up of many African American males. Why this relates to me is because I'm a reflection of the prison system, and I feel it's the need for me to practice those rights that I have to fight for and advocate for people inside the solitary confinement prison system. It is my duty to fight for my freedom and such that I will advocate for those inside the solitary confinement on my behalf of my freedom. In order to end the practice, people can donate to the organizations advocating against solitary confinement. Sign petition and visit ucimc.org. This will help educate people about solitary confinement and what it does to a person. The more educated society is regarding this topic, the easier it will be to abolish this practice. The more the people demonstrate that they are against the practice, the easier it is to persuade the policymakers into creating a law that will get rid of this horrible practice. For example, HB 259, also known as the Isolated Confinement Restriction Act, was proposed to state governments which restricts the use of solitary confinement within the prisons. Although it is still in progress, we are one step closer to ending solitary confinement.